Hello, and welcome to this timely episode of Hope is Kindled. Sometimes, the most powerful way to reignite the flames of dwindling hope is not to return to what we expect, but to stumble upon something unexpected, a voice from the past that speaks into the present. I was not planning on it, but today, that voice is Marcus Aurelius, and his work could not be coming in at a better time. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome during times of almost unrelenting crisis, the Antonine Plague that claimed millions, constant military campaigns, and betrayals among those closest to him. Yet in the middle of this turmoil, he sat with pen and parchment and wrote words not of despair, but of calm strength, reminders to himself, and now, to us. He once said,
"You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength."
Even when anxiety, loss, or chaos press down, the place of freedom is inside us. Marcus shows us that hope isn't always about changing circumstances, it's about changing the way we meet them. What makes Meditations remarkable is that it was never meant to be read by anyone else. Unlike Poe, Dickens, Dostoevsky, or Wilde, who crafted their words for readers, Marcus was speaking only to himself. His notebook was a mirror, a place where he confronted his doubts and reminded himself how to endure. And yet, that very honesty is what makes the work timeless. There is no mask, no performance, only a man facing his fear and writing to survive. Isn't that hope itself? That the words we whisper to ourselves in weakness may one day become a lantern for others. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that everything is fleeting, glory, pain, even the empire he ruled. What lasts is the integrity with which we live, when he writes,
If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment.
How freeing is that? To know that though we cannot stop storms, we can choose how we walk through them. This connects with what we discovered in other works, like Odysseus, caught between Scylla and Charybdis, or Edmond Dantes, lost in despair before discovering patience and hope in the Count of Monte Cristo. Both realize the same truth: control what you can, endure what you cannot, and choose how to carry yourself. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is not a single, unified treatise. It is a collection of 12 books, each composed of short reflections, sometimes no more than a sentence, other times a paragraph, that together form a mosaic of timeless wisdom. To read them is to walk alongside a man who was both emperor and seeker, who ruled the known world and yet confessed his own failings to himself at night. The 12 books are not arranged as a neat progression, rather, they repeat and deepen themes, circling back like waves on the shore. This makes the Meditations less a lecture and more a companion, a set of reminders we can return to again and again. Across 12 books, Marcus Aurelius reflects on the subjects that concern us all: leadership, wisdom, humility, perseverance, inner strength, and the nature of the universe. He reminds us that true leadership is service, not glory, that wisdom means living in harmony with reason and knowing what we can and cannot control. That humility is seeing ourselves as fleeting parts of a greater whole. That perseverance is noble, resilience in the face of hardship. That inner strength lies not in conquering others, but in mastering ourselves. And that the universe is vast, ever-changing, and yet unified, a reminder that we are notes in a grand symphony. Taken together, the Meditations are not just the reflections of an emperor, but a guide for us all. Power and wealth fade, but character endures. Marcus's voice still reaches us, not as a ruler above, but as a fellow traveler reminding us of what matters most. That is why Marcus Aurelius's voice still echoes across 2,000 years. It is not the voice of an untouchable ruler, it is the voice of a fellow traveler, whispering reminders we need as much today as he needed then. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations emphasizes themes of virtue, reason, and resilience. What follows are some of the most striking passages, moments where Marcus, wary emperor, and private philosopher, sets down words that reach across the centuries to us. Marcus begins Book 1 by thanking those who shaped him, family, teachers, and mentors. He recalls lessons of kindness, discipline, and respect. It is a reminder to us that no one is self-made. Our lives are built on the quiet strength of others. Marcus's opening is, in itself, an act of humility, the most powerful man on earth, confessing that he owed everything to those who came before him. He is quick to acknowledge that there will be many you encounter who will not meet expectations. However, and in Book 2, he will offer his thoughts on how to manage those expectations, to persevere and preserve himself in the process.
When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly.
He is not excusing bad behavior. He is preparing himself to meet it without losing his own virtue. For us, the lesson is clear. We cannot control others, but we can control our own response. In Book 3, Marcus lives with purpose, emphasizing the shortness of life and the urgency of living with integrity. He writes,
Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others when you do not refer your thoughts to some object of common utility.
In a world filled with distraction, this book feels strikingly modern. It asks us to stop comparing, stop gossiping, and focus instead on meaningful action. One of Marcus's most repeated themes is the brevity of life itself, as evidenced in Book 4, when he states,
Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Be good.
Far from depressing, this reflection urges us to treasure our days, to use them well. Mortality is not a threat. It is a motivator toward goodness. Book 5 contains the famous passage where Marcus tells himself,
At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being.
He reminds himself that just as bees make honey, our nature is to act with justice and serve others. For us, it is a call to resist laziness, not with guilt, but with purpose. Life is work worth doing. In Book 6, Marcus reminds us that
the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes. The obstacle to our acting, the impediment to action, advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
This paradox is the beating heart of Stoicism. Obstacles are not enemies, but opportunities. Every frustration, every difficulty can become a chance to strengthen the soul. In Book 7, Marcus writes,
What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee.
This is a profound reflection on interconnection. Our well-being is tied to the community, just as the bee cannot thrive apart from its hive. In a culture that prizes independence, Marcus reminds us that responsibility to others is inseparable from responsibility to ourselves. Book 8 cautions against being corrupted by others' failings.
Be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it.
This is an image of steadfastness. To be battered, but unbroken, calm amid chaos. In Book 9, Marcus writes,
If someone can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed.
In a world often driven by pride and defensiveness, this is a radical openness. True strength lies in the willingness to be corrected for the sake of truth and justice. Book 10 weighs perspective and peace. Here Marcus contemplates the vastness of the universe.
The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. And
this statement brings together two of his great themes, the inevitability of change and the power of the mind to shape how we meet it. Peace is not found in the world, but in the way we think about the world. In Book 11, Marcus warns against needless complexity in thought and speech when he states,
Be simple and good, pure and kind, and free of affectation.
For someone surrounded by the pomp of empire, these words are striking. Greatness, he says, lies in simplicity and kindness. In the final book, Marcus reflects on death with serenity. He states,
You embarked, you set sail, you have made the voyage, time to disembark. If into another life, nothing is without God's if into nothingness, you will cease to be suffering and pleasure, and to be the servant of the flesh.
His words are not grim, they are a gentle acceptance. Death, like birth, is natural, and in accepting it, we free ourselves to live fully. The 12 books of Meditations give us a map for life: gratitude, perspective, purpose, resilience, compassion, and acceptance. Marcus Aurelius whispers across time, not as an emperor instructing subjects, but as a fellow human reminding himself, and us, how to live with dignity, humility, and hope. When we place Marcus Aurelius's Meditations alongside Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements, we discover something extraordinary. Two works separated by nearly 2,000 years and vast cultural distance, yet united in their vision of how to live well. Each offers a set of reminders. Not lofty theories, but practical guides for daily life. And while the language differs, Stoic emperor versus modern Toltec teacher, the heart of the wisdom beats the same. Ruiz's first agreement insists on the power of language. Words can wound or heal, destroy or build. Marcus says much the same when he urges himself,
Let no act be done without a purpose, nor otherwise than according to the perfect principles of art. Han.
For Marcus, speech should be plain, honest, and directed toward the good. Both agree, integrity begins in the way we speak, to ourselves and to others. Further, Ruiz reminds us that what others say and do is a reflection of them, not of us. Marcus prepares himself every morning to meet the ungrateful and arrogant, reminding himself not to be surprised or hurt. He refuses to give away his peace to the opinions of others. The emperor and the modern sage agree. Others' actions are not our chains unless we let them be. Ruiz warns that assumptions breed misunderstanding and suffering. Marcus likewise counsels himself to see clearly, not to let appearances or rumors govern his judgment. Both voices point us to clarity, humility, and a refusal to live in illusions. Ruiz's final agreement is an invitation to perseverance. Our best will look different on different days, but integrity lies in giving the best we can in the moment. Marcus echoes this endlessly. He calls himself to rise, to act, to persevere, not perfectly, but faithfully. Why does this comparison matter, you ask? For young readers especially, seeing Marcus Aurelius and Don Miguel Ruiz side by side reveals a hopeful truth. Wisdom is not locked in one culture or one age. Wisdom is something universal, echoing across empires and centuries. The emperor and the Toltec teacher both tell us, live honestly, guard your mind, treat others with dignity, and persevere in your purpose. And perhaps the most hopeful lesson of all, if such wisdom has endured from Rome to modern Mexico, it will continue to sustain us too. We are not inventing hope out of nothing, we are inheriting it, carrying it forward, and offering it to the next generation. As we examined earlier, Marcus often wrote about gratitude. Every morning, he urged himself to wake up and remember the gift of being alive. He admitted people can be selfish, jealous, or cruel, but he chose to meet them with patience because he saw them as fellow travelers, all struggling. This perspective offers us a great deal of hope that even when we feel disconnected or anxious, we can reconnect by remembering the shared humanity in those around us. It's the same lesson Gandhi carried in the story of my experiments with truth, and the same grace Elie Wiesel clung to in Night, that kindness is never wasted, even in the darkest places. The work leaves behind many important lessons for us. First, anchor in the present. Today is enough. Tomorrow can wait. The mind can rest here. Second, guard the inner fortress. The storms outside cannot break the calm within unless we let them. Third, choose gratitude. Even a breath, a sunrise, or a kind word is enough to be thankful for. These lessons echo across so many voices we've studied. Emerson called us to trust ourselves. Dostoevsky showed us redemption through suffering. Whitman urged us to reimagine and reinvent. Each is another thread in the same tapestry Marcus was weaving. That hope is not a grand gesture, but a daily discipline. I have to pause here and say how much I needed this episode today. There are times when even I feel the loss of hope, the waning of the very flame I try so hard to kindle for others. Sometimes life gets me down, and the worries and weight of it all cloud the light. But today, delving into Marcus Aurelius has helped me. It has reminded me that hope can be reignited, even when it flickers low. It brings to mind Merlin's timeless advice in The Once and Future King. "The best thing for being sad," replied Merlin, "is to learn something. That is the only thing that never fails." And in this moment, turning to Marcus has been a way of learning, not only about the past, but about myself, about endurance, about hope. This reminder that even in struggle, one can learn, and in learning, one can heal, is why I believe literature is such a gift. Each work, whether written by a Roman emperor or a wandering wizard, calls us back to the truth. Hope is not out there somewhere. It is within, waiting to be kindled again. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for us. He wrote them for himself just to get through his days. Yet centuries later, they survive as a gift of hope for all who feel weary. And maybe that's the most powerful lesson, that even our quiet acts of endurance today can become beacons for tomorrow. So when you feel your hope flickering, remember, the strength you need is already inside you. And like Marcus, you could write, breathe, and step forward one moment at a time. And, as always, live the journey. For every destination is but a doorway to another. Good journey.